I'm Lauren Green, and you're in the Strategy Room. New indications of a possible shift in the GOP frontrunner for the Iowa caucus. The latest Quinnipiac poll is showing Ben Carson surging past frontrunner Donald Trump in Iowa. The retired neurosurgeon is leading the Republican field with 28%, and that's 8 points ahead of the Donald, who is falling behind with 20%. Here now with reaction are Ellen Ratner, bureau chief of Talk Radio News Service and a Fox News contributor, and Ron Bonjean, partner at Rock Solutions. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Ron, let me start with you. So what do you make of this?
Well, look, I think that Ben Carson in the polls is an extremely likable candidate. He's also spending a lot of time in Iowa. You know, Donald Trump is crisscrossing the country doing a lot of national events. Ben Carson is paying attention a little bit more, I think, to the battleground states. Also, Ben Carson, I think, has a little bit more of a grassroots presence to him. What's going to be interesting to see is now, will Donald Trump still play nice with Ben Carson? Because so far, as we saw in the last debate, they were really good to each other. But now that this is a first, that a candidate is now leading Donald Trump in at least one state. And will Donald Trump take off the gloves? And what kind of effect will that have?
Ellen, what is your take on this? I mean, why do you see that Ben Carson is going so far ahead of Donald Trump in Iowa?
I just left Iowa this morning, and I will tell you, every other billboard, maybe not every other billboard, but a lot of billboards there have Ben Carson's figure, his face, what he says, all over the place. And Donald Trump doesn't exist in terms of retail politics in Iowa. So if Donald Trump wants to win Iowa, which I think is crucial, then he's got to be on the ground there. He's got to have billboards. He's got to spend some money. Iowans want people who pay attention to their state.
You know, Ellen, you're bringing up something that the general population probably doesn't understand, is that Donald Trump's campaign is not really focusing on Iowa, probably in different parts of the country. Does he need to hone in on certain primary states to make his mark? I mean, can he afford not to make his mark in Iowa?
If he does not win Iowa and then goes on 8 days later and doesn't win New Hampshire, I think he can do all he wants to all over the country. He's going to get nowhere. He's got to win at least one of those two states, if not both.
Ron, what do you think? I mean, is this a wrong move for him not to focus as much attention on Iowa and New Hampshire for Donald Trump?
Well, I think it's definitely a warning signal to Donald Trump that he should reinvest some more resources. He should invest some more resources into that state. There's no question about it. Right now, he's been riding high on a lot of national TV exposure and all of the arguments and controversies that he's generating. But he has to be a retail candidate in some of these states, especially Iowa and New Hampshire. There's no question about it. And I would imagine that they're scrambling right now trying to figure out their strategy there.
You know, Ellen, you talked about this before, that this could be sort of the death knell of the Trump campaign if he doesn't do well in Iowa and New Hampshire. But can he get the support back from Carson and others climbing in the GOP polls if he really makes a killing in the other states coming after New Hampshire and Iowa?
Perhaps, but you know, again, people then see him not as a winner, and that's a big problem. People want to vote for somebody they think, A, can win, and 2, they identify with in a positive way. And so if he looks like a loser in those two states, if you're in South Carolina, you're going to vote for a loser, you're going to vote for the person that won those two states. I think you're going to vote for the person that won those two states.
And Ron, you know, you'll get the last word, but what is Donald Trump's strategy? What should it be over the next few months?
Well, his strategy needs to be invest in these. He needs to invest in these early states right now, and get a really good grassroots on the ground game going. Start unleashing an advertising campaign in those states. I don't think he's doing really any of that. He's got some grassroots, and I know he has some staff in those states, but he's not. You know, he's focusing on this national presence. You know, by calling in at every every Sunday talk show, for instance. But he needs to be on the ground, shaking hands in Iowa and New Hampshire. And the fact is now he can no longer say he's leading in all the polls. That's one of his best talking points. Everyone loves me. Well, that's not necessarily true anymore. And he's going to have to figure out a way to turn that around, or else it can get contagious.
All right. I want to thank you very much, Ellen and Ron, for being here. And you can check out foxnews.com for more on the 2016 presidential race. I'm Lauren Green, and thanks for watching.